Hey guys, Angela Wolf here. It is a lot of gremlins on the computer this morning. Sorry. So if I disappear, that's what just happened. It's not on purpose. All right, so welcome everyone. I'm live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. And I have a great show for you today. We have a new theme that is starting right now. What's the theme? Well, a couple things. Let me ask you a question. Have any of you watched the news lately? Well, on a positive note, not all the news, but I was watching the news the other morning and I've been working on this series for a while, but this really kicked it into high gear. They were talking about everyone going to college and they're spending $10,000 to have their room decorated. And they showed a picture and everything was on there. Everything I saw there was in this series of Sewing Fun 101 that I've been working on for Made It Myself TV. So I thought, hey, let's kick it off today with what machine to buy. And there's a reason for that as well. So first of all, I would not pay $10,000 to redecorate my dorm room. In fact, when I was in college, I was totally broke. So there wasn't $10,000 to actually redo my room. And our room, oh my gosh, at NC State, I was in a dorm. It's the smallest room ever. Now, would have it been great to have curtains? Oh yeah. Would it have been nice to have maybe a nice pillow sham? Definitely yes. A nice custom pillow on top of your pillow sham? Yes. Maybe a satin pillowcase to go with my sheets? Double yes. And what about a nice tote to carry to the shower? Because you had to share with everyone on your whole dorm area, right? Check. So you're getting kind of an idea of what all the next projects are going to be. I'm going to start them on Behind the Scenes Live with all of you because we are live today. And yes, I can see all your comments. So I will start it here and then we'll send it over to Made It Myself TV to get this Sewing Fun 101 started. So a couple things. When you started sewing, and leave me a comment about this because I would love to see what you have to say. What was your first sewing machine? And why did you buy it? Was it just because it was the only one you saw on the shelf? Was it the price? Was it that you actually knew the features in it or you were just buying it? And I ask this for a lot of reasons because my brother-in-law and sister-in-law were here a couple weeks ago. Their daughter was accepted at Parsons and, well, actually Pratt and Parsons. Yeah, I was like, go girl. And she's going there for fashion design. And they came here because they were trying to figure out what machine she would like to bring to college. And you know, it's not a direct answer. I showed them a lot of the machines. Now, do you have room for an Avenir in your dorm room? I don't know where you're going to college, but when I went to college, there was hardly a room for a serger, much less that. So, and also you have to think of price point, right? So I showed them a few different machines and I've taken both of them out today, which you'll see here. I think I've got one here. And I have another favorite over here. So first of all, full disclosure, for those of you who don't know, I'm a Brother brand ambassador. I'm not doing the show for Brother. I'm showing you what my favorite features are on a machine. So you can kind of come up with an idea, especially if you're just started sewing. So how many of you bought a machine because of the price? Or did you buy it because of the features? Or you just bought it because you wanted to sew? That's what I want to see. And I can see all your comments coming in here also on Facebook. Oh, we got a whole bunch of different ones. Make clothes for your kids. Cassie, that's a good one. I think that's why my mom had her sewing machine. And then she taught me how to use her sewing machine. That's how I learned how to. Yeah, I know, Susan, 10 grand for decorating your room. If you saw the picture, you would think I could have made all of that in an hour. So I'm going to show that for sure. Features. Oh, Mary Smith has a 1971 Singer. So my first sewing machine was my mom's sewing machine, and it was a Singer, and it was like in the whole cabinet. And I didn't bring it to my dorm room because it didn't fit. But starting the next year, I stayed in an apartment, and that had a lot more room. So that sewing machine went with me everywhere. It died maybe I'm thinking 2 weeks before I graduated from college because I made this really cool gold metallic dress I was a bartender, and the company I worked for had a big Christmas party, And I was like, I got to make myself a dress. Well, I don't know if it was the gold lame that killed the machine or my sewing, one or the other. It wasn't pretty. But a couple things I want to talk about. Did I really need that big machine? No, but that's really all I had. So my parents and my grandparents bought me a sewing machine for my college graduation gift. I didn't graduate in a fashion design. I graduated with a business degree, but I still sewed all the time and I love to sew. And I started my business right out of college. So my organizational management degree went somewhere to use immediately. So my first sewing machine that they bought me, and I was trying to think, I have it downstairs. Offhand, it was like a Burnett, maybe. It's not a Brother product, but I didn't even know who Brother was at the time. And the machine, it sewed. It had a couple features. It could do buttonholes, although back then, nixay on the buttonholes. They never turned out well, even if you knew what you were doing. So it had a good zipper foot. It had a few things. And when you're designing clothes, what do you really need? So this is another question. And this is what I also asked my brother-in-law. Does she want to do embroidery? Because if you want to do embroidery, that's a whole different ball game for what you're going to buy. So I recommend, if you're just getting started sewing, anyone, I don't care what age, I don't care what talent, but if you're just getting into the ball game of sewing, I recommend just buying a basic machine. I would avoid having the embroidery and sewing together, because what's going to happen is you're going to want to embroider while you're sewing. So that would be two separate machines. So this is for a beginner. Okay, this is somebody who's not even looking at the Avenir, the Luminaire. They don't even know what that is. We're talking about total beginner. Maybe your grandchildren, maybe your kids, maybe your nieces and nephews, maybe yourself. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to show you two machines that I have used that are Brother machines. One I use all the time, and you might be surprised about that. The other one I use for travel because it's so lightweight. But I want to talk about why it's a good machine and what you should look for. So you ready? Let's get started. I'm going to just drop in, make sure. Checking. Oh, Phyllis, I had one of those too. That was my second machine. Beverly wanted to make her own clothes. Barb, that was my first machine too. I still have it. I don't use it anymore because I moved when I won a fashion design contest. That's when I started with Brother. So, all right. So I'm going to take this. Let me just bring this comments down so it isn't distracting for you. Hold on one sec here. They keep moving everything in this software. All right. Here we go. Okay, come on over. Let's go to machine number 1. And you might have seen me do a couple videos for Brother on this. It was the travel machine. I brought it on the boat, which I still do. It's very lightweight, but it has a couple features that the higher end machines have that you need to take into consideration. And it's the sewing quality. You can buy a machine for $100. Is the sewing quality going to be exactly the same as something a little more expensive? Sometimes, but not usually. And this is why. So come on over. I'm going to take you over to this machine first. No, that one's second. Let's go over to this machine first. And this is not a newer machine. This has been out for a little while. Oh, Susan, I think you probably know that. Yes, you probably do. Okay, let's get started. So this is, now you can still, I believe, purchase this from a Brother dealer, or at least there's some version of it. So this was the NS80 PRW, and it's been out for quite a while, but I want to point out a few things. It is very small. It is very lightweight. It has a couple cool features you might like. So this can slide off or on. I'm kind of backwards on it, so let me see which way. This slides on or off. This is where I always put all of my sewing goodies without spilling. It has a nice buttonhole foot. It has, as I'm scrolling in here, you've got a nice end foot. Well, what do you need an end foot for? Well, that's if you're going to do decorative stitches, which I do. When I'm sewing jeans, I always use a decorative stitch to make it, jazz it up a little bit. It has a nice zipper foot. It's not an adjustable zipper foot. It's just a zipper foot, but it still works great. And you can buy other feet to go with it. The one thing I really want to point out about the feet here, and I'll bring you in a little bit closer here. Come on down without getting you dizzy. Look at the size of the J-foot. If you were to compare this size to some of the less expensive machines, the J-foot might only be that long. In fact, my first Quattro, that's how long the J-foot was. Well, when Brother changed the feed dogs here to be a little bit longer, they made the J-foot longer as well. So look at how big this area is for sewing. I mean, obviously, I'm not talking about the area for sewing. I'm talking about the feed dogs. The length of that gives you a great opportunity to feed that fabric through nice and evenly. Now, this one also has a few other great features, but I wanted to point out the J-foot. And the reason being is this is the same J-foot that's on the Avenir, the Luminaire, the Stellaire, and it is much longer. So that was my first advice. If you're going to start sewing a lot, this machine here is very lightweight. It can hide, you can put it in a closet. It still has some great features. And here's a few other little good perks. Now, you don't have to have these things, but if you want to just take a quick look here, you've got the speed control. You can sew with this button or you can sew with the pedal, either one you want. You've got the reverse stay stitch, needle threader, or needle up and down, I should say, and a needle threader over, is this the one that has a needle threader on the side? Yeah, right here is the needle threader. So when you push this down here on the side, can you see my hand? I'm over here. It'll thread your needle. It's a little different than the other threaders as far as like the Avenir and Stellaire. It also has a bobbin winder on the top. You've got a spot for thread. Here's your tension dial. And then here are all the stitches. So it comes with 80 total stitches here. And also on here, it's easy to see the screen. You can change your stitch length, your stitch width. And when you change to a different stitch, it tells you the number. And on the top left, it tells you what foot. So for example, if you look really close here, you know I'm making you go close here because then you won't see my messy studio right now. I'm getting her cleaned up for my classes. So it says go to foot R, 21. So I know that that's the foot that I need to use. Now, what about like these buttonhole? These are all the buttonhole stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like 8 or 10. It starts at number 44. So if I roll this up to 44, it tells me I need to use A, which is the buttonhole foot. So it's very user-friendly, very easy to do, but most importantly, the quality of the stitch is really, really good. So you can also do it to a needle. There's a few other extra features on here, but it's pretty basic. As I would call that a basic machine, but it's in a price point that's a little bit higher end than one that, say, is just a couple $100. So again, it's lightweight, easy to carry around, and it comes with a lot of accessories. So that's my first pick. If you were going to college, or you're moving to an apartment, or you want to get started sewing and you don't have a lot of room, that machine right there, the NS80, has always been one of my favorites. In fact, I should know this, but I don't, if they came out with a newer number, because I've used this one so much. So do you have any questions about that before I go to the machine that I use all the time? So the only reason I'm recommending some of these, and you can, whatever brand you use, I obviously am going to use Brother, but the big thing is to try to sew on it first if you can. If not, try to go find a review that somebody has tried. The stitch quality of this machine is just as good as the higher end machines. And that's what you want. And if you're only going to sew, this was the other question. Are you going to embroider as well, or we're just talking about sewing? I really encourage you, if you have no interest in embroidering right now, and you're like, I just want to get started sewing, when you start looking at all the machines, it can be very overwhelming. So if you have a price point of moving into the Celeste, that machine that just came out is amazing, and it comes with a gazillion feet, and you could be sewing forever on anything. But not everybody has that budget, and not everybody has room for it. So that I kind of wanted to back it down a little bit and say, okay, you've heard me talk about the Celeste, the Stellaire, the Luminaire, the Avenir. But what about if you want a machine, you don't have a lot of room? Maybe you're taking it camping with you, or maybe you are in a camper. This would fit in a closet super easy. And the stitch quality for what you're working on, regardless if you're sewing faux leather, cotton, denim, this sews right through it. All right, I'm going to take your questions. What do you got for me? Oh, Victoria has a lot of machines. Yeah, Patty, have you sewn on this machine? Because it's really has a really, really good quality. Now, this machine, I'm not sure if it's still that way. You used to have to purchase it from a brother dealer. So you can call your brother dealer. I don't know. They've changed some of the rules on some that they're selling online, but you might want to check it out. And also, because it is an older machine, you might get a good deal on it. But it's, I say older as far as date, but it works awesome. Hey, Julie. Oh, I'm trying to know. Oh, Susie said a lot of YouTube sewists use this machine. I have to say, Susie, it has such a good stitch quality. So let's just say that even if you have more than one machine, this one, if you just want to quickly sew while you're watching the other embroider, it's great. Oh, wait, yours only had forward and no reverse, Susan? I didn't know that. In fact, I don't remember if mine had reverse either, now that you say that. Mary Smith says, "How does the machine do on knits?" And I see somebody else asking, "Do you sell these?" No, I'm not a brother dealer. I'm a brother brand ambassador, but that's not even why I'm doing the show today. I'm doing the show because we're starting a beginner series of Sewing 101 fun. We've been working on it. You've heard me talk about it for a year, and when I saw that video of a $10,000 remake for your dorm room, I thought, okay, we're starting right now because you can redecorate your entire apartment for under $1,000. It might not even be that much if you get a good deal on fabric, including buying a machine, maybe. It just depends. But I wanted to talk about other machines in case you are just getting started or you're thinking, you know what, I can't afford these other machines you're always talking about. So I wanted to show you there's more. There's a lot more. The machine on Knits, Mary, works really well. I'm going to pop back over there. And, oh yeah, Patty said she has used it for a long time. Yeah, it's a great starter machine. And it's a great travel machine. So, Mary, I'm going to take you back over there and show you why it works well on knits. So first of all, if you're going to sew on knits, you need to use either a zigzag stitch or the lightning stitch, which it has both. The lightning stitch isn't my favorite, but it does work in certain applications. And I'm not saying the lightning stitch on just this machine. It's just not a stitch I usually use because I'm usually using a serger. But number 6, is that it right there? The lightning stitch. And you can also, on this machine, you can adjust the length. And that's a big deal because that lightning stitch is so tiny sometimes. On some of the less expensive machines, you can't always adjust the length or the width. So it has that stitch. It also has a zigzag stitch. It also has an overlock stitch. All the stitches you need for just basic sewing. Of course, then a few extra others. They've got a lot of decorative stitches, but this is why it works well on knits. Here's the tension guide. So I will usually back that down a little bit when I'm sewing with knits, just so the fabric can slide through easily. And because it has that bigger area for the feed dogs, knits can slide through there so much easier than if it was a very short area. And the stitch length is really good. So yes, I have sewn knits, but most of the time for knits, I will use a serger. But as you all know, like I made this shirt. And did I sew it all with a serger? Yeah, but the gathering here on this side, I had to baste first in a sewing machine using a knit needle, which that machine would be great for. And I always baste my sleeves in before I serge them because I don't want to rip it out. Somebody asked me a couple weeks ago, will you show how to rip out a serge stitch easily? So don't worry, I've added it to the Sewing Fun 101 in one of the episodes. So I think you'll like it. All right, any other questions for me before I take you to the machine? Susan already guessed it, but do you know what machine I've been using for, I was going to say forever, but it isn't. That would be a lie because it hasn't been forever. Okay, let me give you a hint. When I started my business in '94, I was designing clothing for women all over the world, and I had to sew fast. And I also, not only did I do couture, I did custom, and then I started doing custom jeans. With the custom jeans, you want to sew fast, and the faster you sew, the faster you're going to get your project done. So first I had purchased a commercial machine. It had oil. It was a mess. It was loud. Um, I'm not going to even tell you the brand. It was not a Brother brand. I did not really enjoy the machine very much. I loved that it sewed fast. That part I loved. But the noise, I ended up with tinnitus for a little while. Like I thought, I mean, if you've never had that for a little bit, it really is awful. Your ears never stop ringing. It did go away, thankfully. Or I would have headphones in all the time with music because it was awful. But the machine was so loud. And did it sew fast? Yes. Was the stitch good? Yes. Did it do everything I wanted it to? Yes. It just was cumbersome. Again, I purchased a less expensive commercial machine versus the others because that's what I could afford when I'm starting a business, right? Well, when I won that fashion design contest at the Sewing Expo in Novi, I won a couple Brother machines. A couple, yeah. It was pretty amazing. And one of them I still have. Now, they do have a newer version. I still have the older version, and I love it. And I use it all the time. So let's head on over. I think some of you already guessed it. Oh, Edna says she loves her Avenir. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Oh, I didn't know that, Patty, that the old NS80 had a pink plate. I would have liked that better than the blue, actually. Maybe I can trade. Anybody have an old one you want to swap with me? Okay, come on over. I just have to remember what, oh, we'll go over to this table later. You can see what we were doing on Fashion Sewing Club last week. All right, here it is. The NS80. This machine replaced my commercial machine for a lot of reasons. So this is how I keep all of the attachments, which I will show you in a minute. I'm going to put that at the table because I'll end up dropping them all. This only does a straight stitch. So if you also want to do zigzag, you want to do buttonholes, this is not the machine for you. But if you want to sew and you want to sew fast and you don't want to spend a lot of money, this one's very reasonably priced. So let me just come on back here. I'll show you something here. Now this came, I'm assuming it still comes with this, but this is the table that just pops off. So this machine here can also fit in a small space. So if I had had this in my dorm room or my apartment, it would have been perfect. Now it doesn't do zigzag and it doesn't do buttonholes. So you almost need two machines if you're going to sew all those other things, right? But if you want to sew fast and you want to sew somewhat of a commercial machine, this is it. No, I do not sell it. You got to call your Brother dealer. You might even be able to find this one online. But this machine actually came from sewingsmachine.com in Atlanta. Dana and Mel, they carry these machines and they have a great price. So here you go. It has a different type of bobbin, and I'm doing this backwards. Woo! Let me don't knock over the ladies. It has a different type of bobbin. So I'm going to bring you a little closer here. The bobbin goes in the side, and it is a metal bobbin. I get this question all the time. Can I use any of my bobbins with any of my machines? Well, all of the Brother machines that have a plastic bobbin, they all work. But this one has a metal, and this only works with this machine. So do not use this. Wow, I just finished my project. Look at how much thread I have left. Can you focus on that? I guess I just got by. It does not have a let you know when it's empty. And I just finished my outfits for BEX, and I guess I just got lucky. Or else I have a hole in I would have had a hole in my shirt, not even known it. So this has metal. This bobbin case goes on the side. It's a little bit different than you might be used to. It also has a needle threader. This one's a little different. You push right here where my thumb is. This goes down and it threads your needle. And the thread goes in sideways to your needle. It's not front to back. It's sideways. This is like the best commercial that's not really a commercial machine. Okay, here, this is your tension dial for your thread. And it looks intimidating, but it's super easy to thread very easy to use. I hardly ever have to change the tension unless I'm using some crazy fabric, like crazy, like minky or something like that, which I love, but it doesn't always love me. Okay, so this is your presser foot. Oh, you can't see that part. Let's go over here where you can see. This is your reverse. And if you notice, there's 4 items here. These are your feed dogs. Feed dog down. They have a pin feed, which I use all the time. So it's like one little pin that shows up underneath, right in between your feed dogs to help hold your fabric. Then you have your feed dogs halfway up and then your feed dogs all the way up. So these are the settings here for that, making it very easy to choose one. You've got needle up and down, automatic thread cut. This was a big one. The stitch length will go all the way to 7. That's a long basting stitch. So if you're trying to quickly test a fit on a pattern or baste something together, that is killer. All right. This has a pretty bright light, but the PQ 1600 has a brighter light underneath. But I always have my rooms pretty well lit. But if yours isn't, you might want to consider. There's room for 2 spools of thread here. And why would you use that? Well, if you've ever sewn jeans with me, a lot of times I will use 2 spools of thread here and run it through 1 needle because it looks like a beautiful top stitch. This is your bobbin winder. And again, it's very easy to lift. It's very lightweight. And that's about it. So it doesn't have any frills, really. Just what you really need to just sew. And sew fast. 1,500 stitches per minute. Do you even know how fast that is? So this is what I call my commercial machine. That's not a commercial machine, but it's fast and easy. So when I'm quickly, somebody said, how do you sew so fast? Well, I sew fast because I've been doing it my whole life. But I sew fast because if I'm basting together, I can put together 3 or 4 muslins in less than an hour, including cutting, because I go to that machine and sew 1,500 stitches per minute. Shelda, what do you got? Would this be good for bag making? Oh, for quilt piecing or bag making? Yes. Let me go back over there and show you this. Yeah, Joanne, we both love this machine. It's like the killer. Yeah, NASCAR fast. And it's quiet. I mean, quiet, not as quiet as like the Avenir or something like that when you're stitching 1,500 stitches per minute. But you know what? It doesn't have like some weird vibration. It's not super loud and you don't get tinnitus. All right, let's go back over here. I want to show you something. I'll show you all the feet that come with this. Or I don't know if they all come with it. I might have bought some too. But look in here. Now, I just told you the other one I loved because of the longer feed dogs. But look at this foot. That is a thin, narrow foot. That is exactly what you would use on a commercial machine. So if you look closely, in fact, I'll go grab the J foot so you can see the difference in the width. Let's see if I've got a J foot over here. Yeah, this is the J foot from my Avenir, which is the same J foot I showed you on the NS80. See the difference of the width? So if you're trying to sew a narrow seam like a 1/4 inch, someone just asked about quilting, this machine would sew your quilt so fast you wouldn't even know what you'd be done, and you would like, what am I going to do the rest of the day? Oh, probably sew another quilt. So this foot does not go on this machine. This foot does. So come and take a look at what's in the box. Okay. For those of you that want to sew garments, this is what we did in Fashion Sewing Club last week. And Fashion Sewing Club members, don't forget, you can always go back and watch your replays. We were moving darts all over for fitting. Okay, I love this box. I don't even remember where I got it, but it holds. I have a different box for every machine to hold all my stuff. And sometimes there's other stuff that ends up in there as well. There's a walking foot, snippers. There's a guide, quilt guide. Some of these things I even forget that I have in there. Oh, yes. So this is a free motion foot. And you're probably thinking, you just said that machine does not do any other stitch except straight. I did say that. So you can do free motion on there, meaning that you can stitch and do free motion on your quilts, or I use it for thread painting. There's that foot. Now, some of these feet are not officially brother feet. I bought them. Well, I had them from my commercial machine. These were different rolled hem feet. Now, it's only recommended, by the way, to use brother feet on your brother machine. But I've used these many times when I was doing narrow rolled hems and a little wider rolled hem. And on that machine, because it's the same base as a commercial machine, they worked great. So again, technically you should only use brother feet, but they didn't have these two. So all my commercial feet worked on this machine. There you go. And this one also had the adjustable zipper foot. This is not the same adjustable zipper foot that Brother just came out with, by the way. If you saw that on the Celeste, that was pretty cool. But this one works great too. So you put this on the shank, and then this goes from side to side. So if this was on the shank, you move the zipper where you want it to go. Works great for piping, works great for zippers, all of that. I think I also bought, let's see, what's this one? That might be the same foot that's on it, to give you a closer view. Here, come on in. I'll bring it closer. Yeah. Of course, it comes with a screwdriver. It doesn't have the easy snap on and off feet, but it works great. So I've got all these different feet in here, which, to be honest, I hardly ever use anymore. I just use it for straight stitch. Now, they also have some other feet that I've purchased. They're in one of my bins, so I'll find that. But all of these are great. Now, I'll come over and answer your questions. I'm just curious to know, does anybody have this machine and have you used it? Oh, hey, Becky. You know what? I actually have to look at that foot. I was like, I don't recall that coming with the machine. Let me go look at it real quick. You probably read my mind. I don't know if that really came with it or if it just got stuck in that box. So let me go check out the number. You caught me on that one. You never know what ends up in these boxes when I'm cleaning. All right, what number is this? I'm trying to see if it's a low shank or a high shank. There's no number. We'll ask our friend Joanne. I know she's on here. Hey, Joanne, did that foot come with your machine, or am I just, did I put my stuff in the wrong box? Just out of curiosity. I know, I love those snappy boxes. I have them everywhere. I do not have to oil it, Angie. Now, here's a little trick, though. When I was using a commercial machine, and I do this with this machine, that might sound gross, but I like to keep the bobbin area oiled where the bobbin's going to go. So I'm not saying you have to have a greasy face, but don't have makeup on. And if you just like wipe, just like from the side of your nose and touch on the side of the bobbin, it's kept it just fine. So either I have very oily skin, or I learned that from somebody years ago. Yep, the metal bobbins also work in the PR machines. In fact, thankfully, because I was working on a project in my 10 needle and I ran out of pre-wound bobbins, and I was like, uh-oh, what do I do? So I was able to use the bobbin there. Okay, Becky says, I think the 1500 did come on with one, but the 1600 did not. Oh, Amanda, that sounds cool. She's used this machine. Your photo's upside down, by the way. I've used this machine. I was sewing binding on the laminated pages. Ooh, that's a lot of work. All right. Any questions about that? So why am I showing you this? And you say, I don't even know. I don't even know why you're showing this, because you might know somebody who wants to get started sewing, and they're so used to watching me show all these higher end machines. I want to show you that you don't have to start there. My first machine, I don't know how much it was because my parents and my grandparents bought it for me, but it worked until it died. And I'm saying I worked that thing to death. I sewed 12 hours a day, sometimes more. And yeah, it worked great. And it was the most basic sewing machine ever. So this NS80 is actually a step up from that. but it worked. So what I'm trying to encourage you on is showing you some other machines that, hey, if you want to get started sewing, you don't have to spend a ton of money to get started. And also look at your different options. There are so many different machines out there. If you go to Amazon and you look up sewing machine, you could, it's like looking up video camera, right? You'll go on forever searching. Actually, no, it's like looking up lip gloss. It never goes away. You'll be scrolling forever. So what I encourage is if you have a brand that you like, of course, I like Brother because I've used it and I only use products that I like. But I've been using Brother since 2008. That's a long time. And from all their machines, from even basic ones, because I did a ton of Amazon videos for them showing how to wind bobbins, and those were on even less expensive machines. But I brought out two of my favorites because I think if you're looking and you're like, hey, I don't know which one I should go with, if you only sew straight and you want to sew fast and you quilt, you make bags, you make garments, and you already have another machine maybe that does the buttonholes or the zigzag, that PQ 1500 or PQ 1600 is amazing. Do any of you remember the PQ 1500, when it came with needle felting, the needle felting attachment? I'll end up doing a tutorial on that, but not everybody has that attachment anymore. Oh my gosh, I love that attachment. Oh, yep, Joanne said it did come with one, and it's a high shank. I knew she would know. Thanks. Yeah. Hey, Karina and Helen and everybody. And there is. Susie, you have the best machine now, the best of the best. But isn't it interesting that even whatever price you paid for the machine or whatever the basic of the machine, you just need it for sewing. So let's go back to the Sewing Fun 101. I had talked to Marcy last year about doing this. First of all, we were talking about homeschoolers that are home sewing. Is there any projects they could do? But actually, it's even bigger than that because I have a ton of friends. They all homeschool and their kids love to sew. Remember my friend Melissa that made all pajamas with her kids? Now that was pretty cute. So the next few lessons and the next few on Behind the Scenes Live and the Sewing Fun 101 will be, we're going to make curtains. We're going to make a pillow sham. We're going to make a silk pillowcase because girls love that on their hair. You don't have to, and what are you going to learn on that? It's like a pillowcase is a pillowcase. Well, you have to start somewhere. And also it's a little tricky to sew silk. We're going to also sew some pillow shams. We're going to sew with minky, difficult fabrics, and you'll learn some lessons. So all of you that are my wolf pack that have been here forever, that sew garments that are like just beyond beginner, I'll still add tips for you. And you can join in the chat to help others, because what happens is hopefully we'll get a lot of new sewers here and they're going to say, hey, I love this wolf pack. They're so helpful. So that's your job. If you're the pro, then you leave comments to help us out. But during these shows, I think you'll get a lot of fun ideas, maybe some gift ideas. And for those of you in college or just moved into apartments, you're going to decorate it for way less than $10,000. Because when I saw that this morning, I was like, you got to be kidding me. All right. So any other questions for me? I really just wanted to give a rundown on the machines. I know some of you have asked, what? You are a foot fanatic. Oh, Amanda, that needle felting was addictive. Do you want to see the dress I did? All right, hold tight. I'll take you here. I'll bring the dress over there in case you haven't seen this dress. I think I have it here. Oh, yes, I do. So now we're squirreling. This is not a beginner thing. I just want to show you this in case you haven't seen this dress. If you look closely, let me bring you out just a little bit. This is silk dupioni, which is a very fancy fabric. But I ran it all through the needle felting. See all these little wrinkles here? I mean, the wrinkles are supposed to be there. So it damages the fabric in a good way. And then you press it, you end up with a whole different texture. So I needle felted all the fabric first, and then I added the embroidery. I absolutely love this. So don't worry, I'll have to bring that on one of the lessons, but it's technically not a beginner. It's called, that's going to go under the embellishing section. Yeah. All right, any other questions for me? I agree, Helen. You can always learn something new. Hey, Julie, it's starting here on Behind the Scenes Live. So, what I will do is start our Behind the Scenes Live. So, the only thing with TV, you don't want all the comments, right? So, I'll start here on Behind the Scenes Live, chat with you, then do the tutorial that will be Sewing Fun 101, and then come back and chat with you, and then edit that down so it's TV quality without all the comments. Make sense? Yeah. So, stay tuned. I looked at the calendar. I'm not sure if it's going to start next week or the week after. It depends on some flights I have scheduled. Oh, thanks, Joanne. The part for the foot is XA7253001. Who asked for that? There it is. Oh, awesome, Kathy Ann. Thanks, Dee. We got to get people sewing because you know what? We all love to sew, and I take it for granted that everybody knows how to sew, but they don't. And I think that there's some things that might be intimidating. And if you're in a live setting where you can ask questions, so the Sewing Fun 101, although we're taping it live, the recording will be put on TV. But because we're live, you can bring your questions in, and I'll answer those at the end. That part won't be on the show. But if you're watching it live, it'll be great because then I can answer your questions, right? Susie said, I don't think I spent 10K decorating my first house. I think I didn't either. All right, any other questions? Oh, that would be a cheap way, Pam. Thanks, Becky. Yeah, so by the way, since we're squirreling, we're done with the machines. Thanks, Julie, you are too. And your fabric went out yesterday too. Was that your fabric or the other Julie? There's two Julies here all the time. Sorry. Okay, you want to see what I'm going to do with the needle felting? So you'll have to stay tuned for this. All right, come over here. I'll just put you there so I don't walk in front of the camera. I bought this at Vogue Fabrics. Okay, let me find it. You're walking around with me. You're just going to have to hear me because I'm not at the machine. I know I had it here because it's on my must-to-do list before the holidays. I want to make this jacket. And where is it? I don't see it. I'll find it as soon as our live show's done, but I'll show you the other piece that I bought. All right, so come on over. Someone said, you should just use all the fabric in your studio. I'm like, I should. That would take the whole rest of my life, but I'm not because I love buying fabric. Okay, look at this. This is a Dupioni. You see it's a little see-through. This is a lighter weight one. It has some navy in it and like a light blue. So when I needle felt it, it brings out the other colors. So the fabric that I can't find, unless you guys see it behind me somewhere, it'd be like over there. Right there on that shelf, was an iridescent, like a green and yellow. That would turn out very, very cool. So you have to texturize the fabric before you sew it. And I promise that I'll do it on video for you so you can see how it works. It might not be a full live show, but I'll show you the technique. And also, when I first did it, it was before PQ 1500 came with the attachment. And when I was on the set of It's So Easy, what was the brand? Simplicity said, there was some people there from Simplicity, not the patterns. I think that's who. I'll have to find it. Anyways, they said, here, we don't want to have to fly this home. Do you want it? This needle felting machine. I was like, whoa, yeah, I do. So that's what I used at first. But the PQ 1500 was because it's faster, 1,500 stitches per minute. Oh, there you go, Kay. Yeah, I mean, you never know. And also, you know, because I've been in the business for so long, from designing clothes for people to teaching you how to sew, sometimes I feel that people get overwhelmed with a lot of the machines, or they think if I can't afford something like what Angela's using, I can't sew. That is not true at all. You can start with something very inexpensive and sew beautiful clothes, beautiful pillows, beautiful quilts, you name it. But what I would like to just say is make a list of what you want to sew. If you're going to focus simply on quilting and you're never going to use decorative stitches, that PQ 1500, 1600 is going to be perfect. If you want to do zigzag stitch and decorative stitches, that NS 80 is perfect. So I gave you 2 ranges. There's other machines similar to that, but those are 2 that I personally use a lot. I should have, remember when we used to call people? I should have answered it. It was my mother. Hi, Mom. She might have been calling to tell me like where she got that machine. I should have answered it. I don't think they have the needle felting attachment on the PQ 1600, Joanne. I know. I was like, oh, but maybe they sell it as a kit. Maybe. Yeah, Kathy, you don't need, let me think. Yeah, you do need special needles. They kind of had a blade in it. If I'm not answering that. I have to go look because it's been a while. I want to say it was just regular needles, but I'm not 100% sure because basically the needles are puncturing the fabric. Hey, you're welcome, Deborah. All right, guys. So that is the beginning of the Beginning Sewing Fun 101, just to get a kickoff of what to expect. And also, you can always email me, send me a message. Is there something you want to learn how to sew or you want to teach someone that you say, hey, Angela, will you do this on your show? Because then I'll just have my friends come and watch. You just send me a note and I'll do that. So I'm looking forward to fall. I know, I'm like fall sewing. I never even finished my shorts. So I guess shorts are going to have to wait till next year, unless I go to Florida, right? I thought so too, Amanda. I thought they were. Oh, Susie made her wedding dress. That's awesome. I made my wedding dress on that inexpensive machine I was mentioning. Yep, Dee, tomorrow is a live show at noon on Brother Sews, and Chris Talk will be making a tote bag. Yeah. Thanks, Peg. I knew it was something like that. I hope they still sell those needles, or else I better be very, very, very careful. Oh, Cindy, that sounds fun. Say hi to your dealer for me. Joanne says, yep, they're barb needles. Oh, I hope they still sell them. If not, I'm going to be looking on Amazon and stocking up because I love using that needle felting. All right. Oh, you're so welcome. You guys are the best. And I just want to tell you to have a great day. See you tomorrow and have a great Labor Day weekend. And hey, Victoria, I like that. Thank you. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor and subscribe. We were celebrating last week. Did you see me on Blaine's show on Thursday? Blaine has left Sewing Machines Plus. He's moving to Missouri, and he will be missed, but I'm sure we're going to see him again somewhere. But anyways, I was his first guest and his last guest, and we wanted to have a celebration for 60,000 followers on YouTube. And thanks to all of you, we did that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So hit subscribe and hit the like button or the love, whichever one. And if you're on Facebook, the best way to watch these shows, share it with a friend, bring it to your own page. And don't forget to follow. You'll never miss a live show. I'm not very good at sending out newsletters. So if you want to see a live show, subscribe on YouTube and you'll never miss one. You'll get a reminder. Yeah. Is the show tomorrow, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Hey, Chris, your hair looks great there. It is noon Eastern. So yeah, it would be 10 your time. Yep, on Brothers channel. You're welcome, Becky. And also, if you're watching the replay, leave a comment below. If you have questions, drop them in because I check those every weekend. All right, until next time, everyone, happy sewing.